All right, this is Jonathan Ober with the Camden County Prosecutor's WordPress tutorial walkthrough. We're recording here on April 4th, 2014. As I have told Jason, the video for this will be available on YouTube. I will send him a link after that's done and create it. And then that way, anyone who either missed today or if you're taking notes and you missed something, you can go back through the video and basically hear and see the screen movements that I'm doing, as well as hear all the audio.
I'm sorry, John.
Yep, no problem. I have our browser open, and then I have another tab that is our login screen. And I'm just going to go down. I created a WordPress outline for today's meeting, and basically I'm just going to go down through each section. Like I said, if anybody has any questions, feel free to send a little chat box window question, or if you don't want to type it out, you can just stop me and ask the question in the through the phone here. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Right now, our login is going to be this address, which is on my server. Once we go live, the login will change to simply camdencountyprosecutors.org/ and then you can either do wplogin.php or you'll be able to do wp-admin as well. But for right now, we're here on this server. So I'm just going to log in, and before I go ahead and hit enter, obviously, if you're using your computer, you can go ahead and remember the password. The other thing that I sometimes forget to tell people is that if you forget your password, instead of emailing me and having me log in and create a password reset for you, you can just go ahead and do this lost password. If I click on that, and I'm going to open it up in a new tab just to show you, you can use your username or your email address, and that will send a password reset link to that account. And then after you instigate the reset, it will allow you to enter a new password, and then you can log in. So if you do forget your password and you just want to remember, you can just do that lost your password. So I'm logging in here. And once that logs in, we're going to be brought to our dashboard. And basically, what I want to do is I'm going to give a quick overview of this dashboard, and then I'm going to cover the individual areas here. I'm going to say that some people may not have the exact visual representation here. I'm logged in as an admin. I believe we have like 8 or so users, and about half of those are admins that will have access to everything. And then there's the other level, which would be our editors, which basically can edit pages and posts and media and a couple other different areas of the site, but will not have access to everything. So just note, as we're going through this presentation, depending on your login level, you may not have access to everything. And I'll also say that if you do need to have access to those things, I can change that user level, giving permissions to everything for you. But we just kind of, Jason and I work together to just put together who needs access to everything, and then who needs access to basically just the editing of the page content and post contents. So as far as the WordPress dashboard, here's kind of our welcome screen. When you're logged in, you'll actually be able to customize how this looks. There's a simple welcome area which allows you to edit the different content. You can close those things. You can also minimize different parts of the dashboard. A lot of people customize this just to what they want to do. For you guys, you're not necessarily, sorry, I went out. You're not necessarily needing the WordPress news, and so you can come up here to screen options as you're logged in, and you can actually hide those things permanently. I can bring the welcome back if I want to. And the only reason you'd want to customize this is just because there's going to be things that you're going to use and look at more so. Like, this at a glance just tells us how many posts we have, how many pages are on the site, and there's different activity, recently published articles on the news side of things, and then if there's things that are in the draft phase that haven't been updated, which kind of curious is why I didn't save those make those public. So I'll have to look at those. I might have saved them but didn't publish them. and we'll go over those things later. But as far as the dashboard goes, we have some updates. Plugin updates will be here, and I'll handle all of those things just because I like to make sure the site's backed up before I do those. Akismet is just a plugin that is preventing spam on our posts and pages. We have our post area, which will then allow us to create new posts, see all of our posts, create new post categories and tags. We have our media, which is where all of our images, PDFs are stored, and other documents, and then we can add new as well. We have our pages, which will be our all pages or adding new pages. We have our comments if we allow commenting on the site, which I believe right now I have turned off. Downloads, comments, you can have comments on pages or posts, and you can have it set up so that the comment has to be moderated. I have it turned off because we hadn't really talked about that, Jason, as far as like, wanting people to comment right on, an article. Like, for instance, if they would come here and we have our, post here, from the other day, if they would go into that and comments are turned on, you would basically see an area down here. I guess, okay, so comments are actually turned on. So they could leave a reply and submit that comment. Do you guys want that turned on? I mean, it's something that we could. It can be set up, one of two ways. It could be set up where they comment it and only you guys see it, as far as being able to see what they say and moderate that. And then once you've moderated it, you can actually approve it, and then it will show up here. Or you can just leave all comments as not public. I am. Yes, you can turn, and I can cover that later when we're in the posts and the pages section. But yes, you can have comments be page specific or post specific. So right now I'll just leave that on, and we'll come back to that as far as how that's set up. So that's comments. Downloads. I don't have anything in here yet, but we had talked a long time ago about the ability to basically track downloads, as far as documents and different stuff, as far as how many times they were downloaded and everything. And so this is a plugin that goes beyond just normal media functions. So right now we're not using that, so I don't necessarily know that I'll cover it today, but it's something I can talk to you about, Jason, more specifically, just being able to basically see what documents are being downloaded as far as PDFs and Word documents or anything like that, and keeping track of that. So that's in there. Table press we're using on a couple pages. Basically, this is a plugin where you can import CSV or Excel spreadsheets, and create a WordPress friendly table, without having to know how to program a table. And so I can show you that as well. Slide deck, we're using that primarily for our home banner, which is this right here. But slide deck has a lot of functionality, and I can cover that today as well, as far as putting slideshows within pages or post. Really, you can have a slideshow anywhere, and so we can cover that today as well. Now, the stuff below here will not be available to everybody. These are admin features, and so like if as I'm going through the brief overview, if somebody does need access to those, just make a note of that and let me know. The appearance area is kind of the part of, I'll call it the bread and butter of the website. The theme is basically the PHP files, the code, the style sheet, everything that makes the site look the way it is. And so that's will be one of those areas I would say go in only if you know what you're doing. But this would be even for everybody. This is where the code stuff happens in the back end. Same with customize. That's where our colors and fonts are set up. Our widgets are going to be our sidebar, and I will cover that later in Mark's. I didn't put that on the. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. I did put that on the outline. We'll cover that a little bit later, as well as our menu navigation. We'll cover that in a little bit. Sidebars, pulls from the widgets. I will probably not go over that just because everything has been set up, but this allows for the theme. It has some different options there. Theme options goes for, again, the theme itself and where things are at and how things are controlled. So that that is controlled there. Uh, Same with the background. I mean, we're not doing a background on the site, but you can do some nice things with the background. And then Lightbox is a yeah. This is like the site architecture. I mean, the thing is, menus and widgets will probably be the only two as far as like what's not already been set up, because your menu, you will be allowed, you'll be able to change your page order, and if you're adding new pages, obviously you need to add those to the navigation. And then the widgets, right now, I mean, we have it kind of set as far as what we want to do, but there's so much more that can be done as the site evolves and as you guys add more functionality. Widgets is going to be a place where we'll add that functionality. And then Lightbox is a plugin that basically just allows for the images to pop up in a little Lightbox window. Our plugins, those are the different functionality things, like our part of our widgets and some of our site function, the slideshow. This is where you basically upload those. Our users, those are the people that are have administrator or editor rights to the site and being able to edit content. So that's controlled there. Tools are, again, another admin feature of the site. There's different tools available for importing and exporting databases, which we're not going to be doing. And then we have weekly backups set up for the site so that if something does go kaput, we still have backups that we can restore from. And this would be site-wide backups. There are individual page and post backups, which I'll cover. They're called revisions in WordPress, and so I will cover those at some point today too, as we're in the post and page editor. And then we have our settings, which this is where your plugins, a lot of the settings like the bulk page creator, the flipping card, Google Analytics, there's a hidden login plugin, and categories, and the print friendly and the disable content comments. These are where your plugin settings are set up. I will probably not touch on those today. I will probably just do a simple walkthrough of those for the administrators to have, just because this is not going to really be something you're going to be changing a lot. We do have an SEO plugin running on this site, and that's something, again, I'll touch on very briefly today, but there's a lot of power in this plugin, and so we can work on that as far as whether or not I'm updating this for you guys or you guys are doing it. The security plugin is a new plugin that I've been using for WordPress, basically just kind of tightening up the security of the core WordPress install and making it work a lot better and smoother, as far as just preventing against hacking, preventing against simple passwords when we're creating users, and changing some of the core features of WordPress to be just set up better for the type of security we want on our website. So that's there. And then redirect options is the way that we're eventually, like when we make this site live, this will be the plugin that basically, if somebody goes to the old site and the old pages, this plugin is helping them redirect to the new site if they have an old link. So that right there is the dashboard in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions so far, aside from what do each of these sections do? Because we're going to go through each individual section. Does anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay. So I'm going to move into going through, and I'm going to jump around basically in this top section, talking about the difference first between post versus pages. I like to tell people that our post content is your news items, your more timely releases. And right now on the website, we're using post as our headlines here, the press releases that Jason sends out to people. That's where this is going to happen in our post. And then they are also, the full posts then are part of our latest news section. So those are things that are time dated. Our pages are going to be any of the what I'll call our static content, though you will be able to update this content, so there's a more liveliness to it, just like your current site has. But all of our pages are like our unit list, the employment frequently asked questions, and the internships, the uh, I believe media relations. I'll have to look again. I'll be honest, it's been a while since I was in that section. I think I did actually use these as pages, but they might also be post. But these are places we will be able to put content. And then our tip line is just our form that people can fill out. And then we also have our our about pages, our complaints, and certainly these are pages and not posts. But for the most part, posts are just our latest news, and then like I said, our for all intents and purposes, it's our blog feed of our press releases. So I'm going to go right in now, and I'm going to show you the post editor and basically walk through probably the more day-to-day updates that will be done. And like I said, these are going to be your news, your press releases. So I'm going to just go in here to all post, and when that refreshes that page, and those of you that are on a computer themselves, feel free to go in as well as I'm doing this. That way you can see what we're doing. And I just want to look here real quick. Yeah, this is a really good example. I'm going to go in. First off, I'll just show you. This is your all posts. So basically, this section here will show you every news item that we have listed on the site. You can do a couple different things here. You can see everything all at once. You can see the ones that are published. And again, I have to check why these are drafts. I might not have saved these and published them, but you also have draft items here. The draft items is really nice because you can write a post and you don't have to upload it right away. So if you have some of the content, or you want to make sure everything's written properly and everything, you can do like a draft item, just like you would a draft a document or a paper, and save that for later. And so you can quickly, without having to go through everything, scroll in here, there's the first 20, and then we have 12 pages of 240 items altogether. Instead of having to scroll for that item, you can simply hit drafts and see those. You have a couple different drop-down boxes here. You can do bulk actions on your post. You can show just your post by that month, so you can filter just by April. You can also filter by April arrest or any of the other categories that we have set up. And then we're not using this right now, but the SEO plugin actually is another way that you can filter. So if you want to see like if there's any April arrest, you can go ahead and do that filter. And right now we haven't arrested anybody in April, but it is only the 4th day, so hopefully that's good. Yes. Mm-hmm. I will cover post dating post in a little bit, but yes, you will be able to do that. You will be able to write for the future and post it automatically. But yeah, I'll cover that in a little bit here, okay? Yep. All right, so I'm just going to go head right back to our all section. And I'm actually going to edit a live post that's already on the site. And the reason I want to edit this one is because this post has a featured image and it has content already in it. But if you would add a new, we'll cover an add new as well. But I'm going to go ahead and click on the canvas for evidence in Gloucester Township here. And that's going to bring up our post. And I'm also going to swing over here just to show you what post we're working on. So we're working on this post right here, and you'll notice again, I'm going to jump through this just because I want to show you what things are doing on the home page, and then we'll go into the actual post in a little bit. So I'm going to scroll down here, and you'll notice we have this featured image right here, and that featured image corresponds to the image on our feed basically. And so you can I can remove that image if I don't want it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do a real quick update just to show you how fast these changes can be made. So I'm going to refresh that page now, and you'll notice that our featured image is gone. But the featured image isn't gone from our server, so I want to get that image back. So I'm just going to hit featured image, and this is going to bring up our media library automatically. It's also going to allow me, I can upload files as well. So if I want to find from my computer, I can do a select, and then I can scroll in here to Camden County, and I'm going to actually go in there. And so I can come in here to Camden County, and let's just, for instance, I'm going to add this picture off my computer. So I'm going to hit open, and you'll notice that just runs right through and uploads that picture right to our media library. Obviously, we're not going to use this picture, so we're going to just tap that little uncheck box there, and we're going to click back on the picture here of this woman. And we can do a couple things when we're uploading featured images. We can change the name of the actual title on the photo, and so I'm just going to get rid of the .2 because that was part of the file name. Because we're doing featured images, captions and alt text and description are not available. We can only do the title for the featured image. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that as our featured image, and I'll show you what that title, putting that title there, did. So once that's saved, and I'm just watching this little refresh bar there. Once it's going the opposite direction, I know that that save has been made. And so now we're going to pull up the newsfeed again. And if I hover over that picture, it's going to tell me that this is going to this article. And if I'm inside that article, and we have that featured image, it's there as well. Actually, you know what? I guess titles don't work on featured image. I thought they did. I know titles work down here for our gallery photos, but I didn't put any in for this. But we'll cover that. So that's our featured image. That's where it shows up on our blog post. Featured images can be any size. WordPress will automatically scale it to fit this width, and then crop it proportionally, or scale it proportionally to fit that area. So that's the featured image. So now I'm just going to go ahead and go through the different parts of our post editor. We have our title area, which is right here. You'll notice that that title is going to be the title right there on the main page, or right there on the main post, and then it's also going to be that title that's right there. When you give a title to a post, WordPress automatically organizes our post based off of year, month, and date. So I posted this on April 25th, 2014, and it's going to take that title and automatically put it in this little box, which is called our permalink. Permalinks you can just basically think of as your website URL to that specific post. You'll notice if I click on that post, you can give somebody that whole URL, and they can get right there is the title, Canvas Evidence, Gloucester Township Death. So that's why when you're titling things, I noticed when I was working on some of the past stuff, some of them it was simply titled Camden County Arrest. Like I think I had like 7 or 8 that were like just titled Camden County Arrest. I know that's like what's happening, but you may want to title these a little bit more specific. That way, if somebody is searching, and this is where I told you, Jason, and maybe I talked about it in the meeting, was that you could title those, maybe putting the person's name, if there's somebody associated with, obviously with unknown assailants and stuff, you might not have those names, but somebody, that is named in the article, you might want to do that, or at least focus on like which township it is, or something like that in the title, just for search purposes.
Now, let's say somebody is looking for information on a guy we busted,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in Google.
Mm-hmm.
If they type in his name, will putting his name in the title of this post make it easier to find him through our website?
Yeah.
That information?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about SEO as far as that goes. In WordPress, the way that things are set up, your canvas evidence is, or your canvas, your title of your post or your page is the most important first thing. Google searches, Bing searches, Yahoo searches will look at, because these are brought in as what they call an H1, which is your heading. So if you put the name in there, the chances of that showing up higher up is going to be better. Also, since all of our content is searchable here, versus the current site, which is using Flash, um, all of this is searchable as well. And then um, I can show you a little bit down here. If you'll notice, we have our little WordPress SEO by Yoast. This is the actual WordPress search engine optimization plugin. Right now, this little snippet here is what Google will show up. When you do a Google search and you see the title of the page, the URL link, and then a little bit of content here, you can actually tailor this preview content. Right now, the first uh, what is it, like 50 words or something is taken. Um, but you might want to, change that up a little bit, where you could say, instead of maybe, you know, all this stuff about Warren and the police chief, maybe you want to change that title of, or that snippet preview. You could actually change that to like reef body found in, river. So you could,
This was a fairly well known case. So I think getting her name up there
yeah.
would be good.
So you can customize that preview for any page, any post. You can shorten the SEO title. Like right now, the office of the prosecutor Camden County is part of the title automatically. But you can change that, and so this will you know change the snippet preview. It doesn't change our long URL, but what it does is it maybe makes it more specific. So you can certainly change those aspects on an individual basis. You don't have to do it for everything, but you can do it for some of the things. Um, and that's for searchability, and that will help in Google search, as well as, like, if I come in here to the website and I search for her name. See that this is a search of just the WordPress site, and that name is the first thing that pops up, or that article is the first thing that pops up. But then any article, and then you see we have three others where this article, obviously references her name, and
Anything that we've written about her will pop up in that spot.
right, and anything, let's even say, like if we do Warren W. Falk, if somebody wants to search for the prosecutor himself, anything that has his name in it, which is going to be most of them, because I'm pretty sure he's attached to all of them. But anything that has his name is going to be in that search result as well. So this is a really powerful. I mean, you can just type in simply, uh, Gloucester, and actually, as you type in, I don't know if you noticed that I was going really fast through before, but
Yeah.
these
So
actually will
stuff
pop
that
up.
we put out that relates to Gloucester Township will then pop up.
Right, and so that shows up here in your search box. You can do a view. Jonathan. Yep. Nope.
In that search box, you probably moving ahead a little bit. Does it highlight the words throughout the website?
It does. It does
What are you
not.
searching for? Pulling up generally.
It just pulls up any article that has that term in it. I can look to see if there's a plugin that we could use that would highlight those. I mean, that's more of like a lot of that highlight stuff is happening on the browser side, where like your Firefox or your Chrome or your Safari are doing that highlighting, like when you're just doing a simple find, like if I do find and I do type in Gloucester, like I get that, and that's browser specific, so that's not something that's on the site itself. I'm just doing a find within that page.
I personally like that. I did it on the website. And I put there's a few misspellings of chief throughout,
Okay.
and I put that in the search, and it did pull up some documents, but I had to open it up and actually look through 3/4 of the document and
Right.
find, to find that where if it was highlighted.
Well, I'll tell you if there's yeah. Well, I'll tell you if there's a spelling mistake on anything, I can actually do a global update on the site just by like if you tell me that chief was spelled like CHEIF, I can do I can do a find and replace on the database where we don't even have to go into each individual page. But yeah, I mean those things, if you find those things, just let me know. But yeah, as far as highlighting, yeah, I don't know that there's a search result type plugin. I mean, I can look at that. So let me put that into my notes here. Search highlight. But yeah, so that's in my notes. So let me go back, just because we kind of jumped here. Let me go back here. So we have our title. We talked about that. We talked about our permalink, which is the direct link, to the site, and that by default just takes whatever you have here and puts it in. So that's where Jason and anyone else who's updating this, that's where you're going to want to add those, really specific keywords into that title. Again, you can come down here to the SEO plugin and modify that if you want, because if you want your URL to be very specific, but you want what shows up in the search result maybe cover something else. You can have that. That's what shows up in the Google search, and that's where I would say, yeah, I mean, it's not going to help anybody if it's just like, murder, homicide, Camden, New Jersey, that's not really going to help people. It's you want to kind of, and that's where you can kind of tailor this to be a sentence of like, here's, 156 characters. Here's, what you want to write to be specific with what's on that page. Um, exactly. And you can actually change that from, if this post gets updated, you could change that to reflect, like you could type in something like, update, uh, reef arrest case uh, found second killer. You could have that. Um, although it looks like, actually, I guess you can't put the brackets in there. Google doesn't like the brackets, so you could do something like that, um, and that would show up in the search results. All right, so I'm going to go back. Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll talk about that in a second here. All right, all right. So here is our content block. This is basically the if we go over here to our post, the content block is going to be everything from your featured image down, not including your featured image because that's set up somewhere else. So basically, our content here is just like a word editor or an email editor. You can put in all your text right here. Um, you'll have access to being able to bold, italic, and the typical editor type things here. You'll also have the ability, and I'll cover this. I'll actually show you how to do this in a little bit, but you'll actually have the ability to link words to other articles or other parts of the site, or other websites, even if you want to link certain content. Um, you can open up. I just Yep. Yeah. What I did is I just clicked the little. There's a little arrow icon here. Some people really, when they want to write, they want to be distraction free. So there's a little full screen thing where they can, basically edit the title and the content without having all of the fluff around that may not really concern them. We have a gallery here, and I'll show you how to upload galleries in a second. And then here is an example of a hyperlink as far as the email address goes. And I'll show you real quick too, like if you want to, I'm just going to write another line here and just, let's just say send us a tip, you know. And what I did is I just wrote out that text, I just highlighted it, and I'm just going to come in here to this little hyperlink guy, and it's going to bring up this window, and you have a couple different options here. You can opt in to basically just link to a web page. So we're just going to link to Google. We're going to title it, and this is a good example of, like, if you want to link to another site that's not the Camden County Prosecutors, we're going to go ahead and open that link in a new window, because we don't want people to click on the link and go away from the site. We want them to open up a new tab. So I'll give you an example there, and then we're going to do another one. Send us to the tip page. We're going to highlight that one, and this is where the words that you use and the things that you name pages on the site is going to come in real handy. I can come down here to link to existing content on the website, and I can type in the word tip, and it will bring up any time that the word tip was used. So obviously here's our tip line page, but because we use the tip's email address, any post, so here's a homicide post that was from February 19th, it must have used the word tip in it. So the neat thing about that is that if you wanna link, let's say, her name, there's those 3 posts that have her name in it. So you can actually link to other content you've already written. Whether it's like here's here's the send us a tip page, so I can type in the tip. I'm going to click on the tip line. It's going to automatically put in the URL right here. Put in tip line. It's going to put in the title. And so now I've just created a hyperlink to the form on the tip page. But if I want it to come in here and let's just look through here real quick. Here's her name. I can go ahead and hyperlink that. Type in her name, and that's going to bring up these posts. And so obviously I don't want to link to the same post we're on, but I could link to, if we're still looking, maybe there's the word reward in this paragraph. Or here, actually, yeah, this would be a better place to do it. So let's say here's a $20,000 reward. I could go ahead and link. We still have her name saved in here. I'm going to link that to the reward page. And if I hover over that, you'll notice it'll pop up the little box there, the little yellow box says reward offered in Gloucester Township death. So that backlinks all your content. That helps you basically, if you have something that's ongoing and there's 2 or 3 articles written about it, you can link to those old articles, or you can come down here and write up some text and link to your tip page. So if I go ahead and preview that, I'm going to open up a new window here, and it's going to preview those changes that I just did. These aren't live. I haven't saved these. So I'm going to come down through here, and you'll see now $20,000 reward. That's a hyperlink, so it converted to the hand. So if I click on that, it's going to go ahead and open up that reward post. If I come down through here, we've got our send us a tip. I'm going to click on that. That's going to open up Google, so you can link to an external web page. I'm going to go ahead and click this send us to the tip page, and that's going to open up the tip line, which we don't have content in for. I'm going to make a note of that. That's my bad. I dropped that one. Tip line content. Yeah, we can put a form in there. That way, somebody can fill that out, and it'll email you guys when there's a update. Yeah, and the form, the way that the form plugin works, you guys will be emailed the form, and then it will also save in the database. So if you ever delete that email, you can go back to it and resend it, or just look at it and reply to it. All right, so basically that's the preview of the post editor. I'm going to talk now about the media and adding a gallery. Since I'm just going to keep doing the edits down here at the bottom of the page. I'm going to go ahead and put a return, and I'm going to go ahead and add media. Now I'm going to do this 2 different ways. Quickly, you can just come through here and you can see, okay, we've already uploaded some pictures revolving around this case. So I'm just going to click one picture. You're going to notice that we have a little checkbox here, and I can just click one at a time if I want, or I can hold down the Shift key on your computer keyboard, and you'll notice how all of these have checkboxes. And they also come down here and they're also selected as photos. But for this example, what I want to do is I just want to show you guys how we're uploading or updating just one picture. So we're going to go ahead and click one picture. So this picture has been pre-uploaded. Obviously, you can come here and upload from your computer just like we did before. Select the file, find it on the computer. When you do this upload media, it automatically puts it in the media library. You'll see we have our building picture is back that I had uploaded earlier. So we have this cop picture we want to post to this article. I can come through here and change the title. This title is going to be the title for the image. It does not change the actual file name of the image, but what it does is it changes how, if somebody was searching on Google, and we do like canvas for reef homicide, if they search for her name, this will show up in Google image searches because we've put her name on that. I can add a caption, and I'm actually just going to duplicate that, but I'm going to just add the word caption so that you can see. You can see at the end when we publish this how that looks on the site. As long as you're doing really good titles and captions, you don't have to do alt text. What alt text is basically that's for screen readers, for anyone that has vision impairment or is using a screen reader on their computer. But if you use a really good title that describes what's happening in the picture, the screen reader will actually read that content there. And the description basically would be if somebody goes to like Google image searches and they do like Camden County prosecutors, and they do they go through the images, and let's say here's the building. The description is going to be what's here in your Google image search. So depending on how involved you want to get, you can write a description for each picture. I would say if the pictures or if the case is maybe about I hate to say it, but is of a a larger note, it's something that's ongoing and running, you may want to add a description in there that has to do with that case. And then we have some different options here for our images. You can align that image left, centered, right, or none. Obviously, these three mean that the text will flow around it. So the text will flow around the right side. The picture will be on the left. The picture's in the center. The text flows beside it, or the picture's on the right and the text flows to the left. If you do none, basically it'll just put that image right smack dab in the page, and then the paragraph text will flow underneath of it and not be up next to it. I personally like left alignment of photos, so I usually just do that as an example. The link to, basically you can have that image linked to a larger image. Right now we're not going to put the full size 2592 pixel size. We're going to do a smaller image, but if you want people to be able to see the larger image, we can keep that as the media file, and I'll show you what that looks like. This link here underneath is automatically populated, so if I come over here, it's actually linking to that JPEG image. And then here we have our size abilities for the image. By default, WordPress is set to full size, but because of the nature of how we're doing our photos and how we're having them incorporated into the text, I'm just going to choose medium, which automatically does a 300. It'll either do a 300 width or a 300 height, depending on if you're doing a horizontal or vertical image as the default, and then it will make the other proportional. So we're going to go ahead and just insert that image into post. And you'll see here we have our image, we have our caption that we put in there, and if I click on that image, go ahead. Yes. Yep. And the other thing that I'll show you, so this is just one image, that's a single image. Now the other thing that I want to show you is we're going to do, actually here we'll put it after it. So we're going to do, we're gonna come down here below our image. So now that was just one image, but you had asked earlier how to add a gallery. So I'm going to go ahead and add media. We already have these pictures loaded in. So I'm just going to do Shift and click those images. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and instead of inserting each one individually, I'm going to create a gallery from those images. So that automatically, you can go either way. If you do insert media and you select your pictures, and then you hop over here to the create a gallery, it'll automatically keep those ones selected. Or you can just come to create gallery first, um, and then do the shift click through. But you'll see here we have our selected images. Now right now I'm not done yet, because what I can do is I can come through here and I can click and drag and reorganize those pictures. So if I want her photo to be first, I can click and drag, and this picture is a little bit more exciting, as far as there's some close up there of the police officers and the canvas going on here. So we can move those around right there. We can put that one there. Okay, so now we've reorganized our images. Now, just like before when we had our title and our captions, I can come through and title each individual picture. And you'll notice too that that one kept the caption that I put on for before. So those settings saved. So I'm just going to leave that one as captioned, and I'm going to leave the rest as the titles that I've put. And I'm just going to come down here and create a gallery. And so I have these other options here. I can still, on a larger scale, I can move those around if I didn't do that the step before. I can still add captions, so we can, and we can just say like photo from 2010, put a caption in there. So you can put captions onto each of those. Maybe you were like, well, he's not looking in that one, so we're going to delete that picture. So maybe you've uploaded and you've decided you just want those four. We're using a plugin that allows for, and I'll pop over here, lightboxing, which is this feature where the image pops up and it loads the larger full image. And I'll have to double check the settings on that. I want to make sure that I didn't leave it to the default. Some of your photos were really large, and so it's trying to load the largest version of that. So let me check. Yeah, I mean, obviously right now we're sitting here now, and this this one is trying to load this big image. I'm pretty sure, and I'll be honest too, I've had some issues with my Comcast over the last week. So I'm going to double check that, because that still hasn't loaded. I want to make sure that those are, I'll have to double check that plugin and make sure it's loading properly. But you can do a couple other things here. You can have, a one column. You can have two columns. Since we're going to have 4 images here, we're just going to do 4. We're going to leave this. Actually, you know what? Maybe this is what's wrong. Let me double check that, because I'll have to double check the other gallery. We actually want to change this to media file, because that's the way that the Lightbox plugin works. And even if you don't, you can actually set this up to be a random order. That way, every time the page loads, the gallery is in a different order. I personally would not check this, because I want, the gallery to be in a certain order when people go see it. So we're going to go ahead and insert gallery, and that's right here. If I need to go back and edit that gallery, I can just simply click on that image. I know I did that fast. I clicked on the image. There's this little camera with a photo icon. I can click that, and I can get back to that edit gallery area. That deletes the gallery. That deletes it off the page. So nope. Yep. You just click that, and the gallery's gone. Yep. So that's the galleries section. So let's go ahead and preview that change. You'll see it's updating the slide that I have open here. And once that's done, we'll come back through now. All right, so this is where I'm learning a little bit too, because it's been a while since I've, like I said, updated this site. It looks like with our captions, we had some stuff happen here where the alignment went off for that caption. So it looks like, let me just double check that. So it looks like with, what picture was that? The first one. Let me just put in a caption here, because it looks like it borrowed the caption from the other one, and you see it kicked everything down. We don't want that to happen in our gallery. Oh, duh. This is not in our gallery. This is the picture I did, the single picture, and then I didn't align this. So yeah, it's Friday, right? All right, so we want to, let's just double check that. Oh man. All right, so that's the caption that added for the single photo. So that's our single picture, and then I guess the alignments it's fighting with each other is what it's doing. So I'll have to look to see why that's doing that. But if we click, okay, that's what I did wrong with the other gallery. So now I've clicked on that and the picture loads and it loads nice and fine. I can click to get our arrows here. When I say it loaded nice and fine, now this one doesn't want to load. Yeah, so that's weird because that one loaded fine, but that one's not loading. And that one loaded fine. I wonder if there's something with that one picture. Well, we'll look at that. And then I can also use my arrow keys on my keyboard. I'm obviously not clicking on the arrows. I'm just using my left and right. So it gives a full image view of that gallery. So that's insert media. The other icons that are up here, I have. You don't have to. You'll probably never use this, but there's an icon font that we're using on the site that corresponds to some of the other pages. And so that's why that icon's there, but you won't use that. The insert download, like I said, that's that plugin. I have to look to see what the best way to use that plugin. And then the insert slide deck, like I said earlier, you can actually create a slideshow and put that on any page, and that would be similar to our homepage slideshow, which is right here. But we'll probably never use slideshows. You'll use galleries on pages and post. Everything else here is pretty self-explanatory. Like I said earlier, you can copy and paste text from Word. So if you've already formatted everything, you have your bold, italic, and you have that write up like that you send me. This is what I do. I just go in here and paste it in, and it keeps all the. Yeah. Yeah, and actually now the new thing that you'll probably do is you'll probably write your press release on the WordPress site and then email the link out to it to all those people instead of writing up a press release for it and then copying. You could just do everything right in here.
Hey, Jonathan, I know one of the big things that we haven't covered yet
Mm-hmm.
is we'll probably be putting stuff out where we want to have a video
Mm-hmm.
visible right on the post. How do you insert like a YouTube video?
Yep. Let me go ahead. I will show you just how easy and awesome it is.
Yeah, I know how to embed code. There's a share feature, and then you can see the HTML code, right?
Yes, and what you'll do is it's really easy right now. You just hit share. You'll copy this link, and you'll come in here, and actually we're gonna put this. We'll put this right at the top.
Put it wherever you want.
Put it wherever you want. Just hit YouTube. All right. Well, just so you know, I hit update instead of preview changes, so now these changes are live. But right now yeah, I'll show you. We'll go back as far as revisions then in a little bit. So now we're going to just refresh that page. And actually, it won't show it in here because this is the preview. Refresh our post, and there's our cat video. And so really all you have to do now is just copy and paste the link. You don't have to. But before about a year ago, they updated this. Before you had to hit get the embed code off of YouTube, which was.
So you don't have to use the embed code.
Nope.
It's automatically going to do it just by having the hyperlink to the site.
Right. Yep. All I have to do is find our video, and then you hit share, and you just grab this share code right here. Before you used to have to do it this way.
Yep, that's the HTML code.
Yeah, but now you just do it this way. Uh,
I gotta tell you, man, as we go through this, you just did such a good job.
well,
Everything is great.
thank you.
Everything is very easy. The design is excellent. Very intuitive. This is really well done.
And I'll show you just in case you use Vimeo as well. The same thing here. I'm just copying the Vimeo link, and I'm just gonna put that right there, and we're gonna preview our change. And the same thing, the Vimeo link, just boom right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete the cats. Oop. And update that. But then I'll show you how to do revisions as well. So that's pretty much the editor as far as things go. There is, a couple. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll actually do that a different way. Instead of going through and deleting, I'll show you revisions and how to get back. Um, so at this point, the only other stuff that's down here is there's some underlined stuff. We also have this little drop-down box that has some predetermined, pre-made headings and formatted stuff here. Basically, what I've been doing is anytime there's a headline, I believe I use this on like the unit list page and a couple other of the posts. If there's like a subheading, I was using this heading 2, and then if there's another heading underneath of that follows under, I was using a heading 3. I usually don't go below heading 3, and the reason that you would want to highlight text as heading 1, 2, or 3 is that you want to draw attention, so the font's going to be different. And I can actually just show you that real quick. We'll do heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. So we're going to go ahead and highlight the text and choose heading 3, heading 2, and heading 1. And we're just going to go ahead and preview that. And when we come over here back to our preview, you'll see we have some larger, and then we have some blue, and then we have some dark gray, black, almost black for the heading 3. But these are basically just to show, hierarchy. If you have a title or something on a page or a post, you can go ahead and use those. Then we have our underline. We have our full width align. I usually don't show this to people, but you can have like different colored text. I would hesitate to use different colored text. I don't want any like pink text, and yeah, stick with the defaults. And then you can insert from your clipboard, like your text editor, or you can insert from Word. You can also come through and let's say we've written some text, and this is bold and italic. And let's say we've formatted our text. Instead of going back through and clicking each word and undoing the italicize, you can come through and highlight that text and hit erase, and it will actually erase all the formatting that was done. And then we have some Greek letters and different custom characters. If you need to use like a registered sign or a copyright or anything like that, you can get to those through there. And then we have our indent and outdent. So if you want to indent a paragraph or something like that, you can do that, or you can come back and outdent it. And then you can also just undo. So if you've done something, you're like, oh, I really don't like that, you can do undo and redo as well. And then if you've ever forgotten any of that, there's a little help box that will pop up. Just some basic editing, advanced techniques within the editor. So WordPress has some help right in there, hotkeys, copy pasting, and all that kind of stuff. So that's the editor media we talked about. The other stuff that's down here, I'm not going to get into, but I'm using a plugin that allows some redirects to happen. And so let's say, for instance, we're no longer wanting people to go to this post. I could actually put a redirect, like if there's been an update to this, instead of just updating this post. Say we duplicate the text and we want to have it redirect to another page, you can actually set up a redirect. But again, those are things that will be a case-by-case situation. You can just ask me, how that works. We talked about the WordPress SEO plugin here. You can have a featured post, which basically means that this one is at the top of our list. So here we have, if we go to our latest news, actually, you know what? Yeah, if we go here to our latest news, the featured will put that at the top, and so you can force it to be at the top right there. I believe, so I'm logged in as an admin, so I don't know why this option's even there, but you can have, you know, maybe this isn't for that. I'll have to look up, see why this isn't there, because that really shouldn't be there. But you can see here too, like I said earlier, we have some revisions. You'll see it saves the last 5 revisions that we've made. But so basically now we've pretty much messed up this post from what the original intent was. So I want to go back to where we were a week ago. I can just click that list, that link. This is telling me that I've made some changes that aren't saved, and I don't care because I want to go back to March 25th. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the page. And now I'm looking at our revisions and what we've made different. And basically what I want to do is I want to go back to this March 25th. I can see the current revision right here, which has our YouTube video. It has some of our edited content that'll show up in red. It has these galleries. I don't want those. I want to go all the way back to let's see, a week ago. Yeah, March 25th, a week ago at 10:18. I can go ahead and restore that revision. And you'll notice when I scroll down, those extra links and those extra galleries and that extra image is all gone. All the focus keywords and everything, that's all restored back to the original. And now we have this new revision that was saved here. Now it looks like I need to update our time clock too, because this is showing the time zone is one hour different. So I'll have to update that time. So, not that that's a big deal, but when you're looking at revisions, you know, that to me is like, oh, I don't want to restore to an hour ago. I want to restore to the present, which is right now. So now we're going to update that, and we're going to come back here and just verify that all those changes have been made. So we have our gallery, and it looks like, I guess the revisions don't change the gallery, which we don't want those, so we want to delete those captions. And update. So that's Post in a nutshell. The only other thing I did not show you guys yet with Post is our sidebar options over here. And we talked a little bit here about basically what we've been doing. We've been publishing a live. I can change, what I did is I saw that real quick. I just clicked edit, and right now we're published. I can change this to pending review, which I believe the admins, it's not going to do anything for, but the editors will send an email to an admin for to review their post. And then a draft, like I said earlier, you can start writing content and then come back to that content later. But we're going to leave it as published. The other things that we can do is that I can change our visibility to have that post stick to the front page, so it's always going to be on the top. So if there's maybe like a current case that's really, you know, you're trying to get tips, you're trying to get information out there to people. Let's say there's, you know, it happens. Let's say there's a serial killer out there or a burglary, you know, spree type thing going on. You don't want that post to get buried, you know, after we've, you know, after a week or two. If you're updating these news items, the reality of it is that this feed on the home page is going to change, you know, with each post. And so if there's some kind of, you know, real important information you always want to be at the top, you'll want to simply mark that as stick to the front page, and that'll always be at the top. You can password protect things. So let's say you've written a post and you really only want it to be accessible by certain people. You can have a private password set up for people that you would have to give them that password out. Um, and you might have instances where you'd want to use that. And then private would be anybody who's logged in as an admin or an editor to the site will be able to see it. So for the most part, everything's going to be public. Generally speaking, you might have it stuck to the top, but then you might want to, have password protected things down the road as well. This area just lets me get back to my revisions that we saw earlier. And then this is one thing, Jason, you had said, maybe you want to write an article, but you don't want it posted right now. I can go ahead and click this. And just to show you for an example, I'm going to go ahead and click and change the date to April 5th. And I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to, now you'll see that that changed to the word schedule. So if I go ahead and schedule that, and once that update is saved to the database, I can go here, and you'll notice now that our homepage no longer has that. It's because we've scheduled it for tomorrow. So, and mm-hmm. Yep. 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 Or if you're writing a press release about something that hasn't gone public, let's say you're doing there's going to be a something where I've seen these before where a crime has happened and the news doesn't get out there right away, or maybe the news articles that are out there are unfinished. You could write up a press release, and if the police chief says, "Hey, we're going to talk about this at 6 o'clock," you could schedule that. You can actually schedule the time it goes live as well, right here. So you can schedule 6 o'clock on April 5th that this post goes live because they're going to talk about it, and the information is going to now be public. So we're gonna turn this back to March 25th. Uh-huh. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of this stuff, and actually when I go over to pages, I'm going to show you just the differences. I'm not going to go back through everything because a lot of the stuff is the same. So I'm going to go ahead and publish that. And then the only other things I want to show you are going to be our categories down here. So once that goes over and saves and refreshes. All right, the only other thing here is we have this extensive list of categories. I will say I was just putting categories in as there were like keywords in the post. Obviously homicides, murders, arrest, assault, automobile accidents. You can tag things in multiple categories. So right now this post I've tagged it in 2 categories. The place that those categories are really good is that they show up here. So I can click on that assault category. So it lets people see real quick too. And now you'll notice that this shows me all the posts that are in the category of assault. So everything that has been tagged in assault is now showing up. I can also come over here to our sidebar and simply click arrest. And that will show me everything that is an arrest. And you'll see some of these have 3 categories, some of these have 2. If there's been multiple categories assigned to things. This just helps people look, through the site quickly to find, if they're looking for a specific thing. Maybe they know there was an arrest recently, but they don't know the names involved. They simply go to arrest and then they can go down through. So just another way that people can search. So you'll want to tag your post accordingly. If there's a category that's not here that you want to use, you can simply do add new category. And then, and actually at the end of the year, one of the things we might want to do is create a category for each year. And then that way, when somebody is in here, when we're in here, we can actually go to our post. And when that comes up, and we're in our all post area, I could actually show all dates. And I can go through, if I want to make a category that's 2014, I can find all the ones that have been listed in 2014 and add them to a category if I wanted to. The other thing we could do is we could create an archive that would actually, yeah, we wouldn't, scratch the last like minute of things I just said. There's a better way to do that. Um, yeah, I'll show you how to do that. So we can add a new category. So let's just say, like, I don't know, if uh, ransom, was a category, you could add that. And then you can add that category, or if it's a category, you could have a category within a category. So let's say like there's a scam going on and we want to do credit cards. Instead of having credit card scam as a category, you can have credit cards, and then you can come here and we could do, actually, I guess we do have credit card theft, but if we want to do scam, and then maybe it's something as simple as like there's a scam on the elderly. We could have uh, a subcategory underneath that, and you hit add category, and now elderly's there as a category. And then if I would uncheck that and update, you'll see in our category listing that underneath scam now is going to be an indented elderly category. So, and these categories I'll show you as well. One of the other things I have to show you is how to edit the hierarchy of these categories, because right now this is just categories we've already established or new categories that we create here. But there's a way to edit all the categories here. We're not really using tags. That's something on top of categories. And for what you guys are doing, we don't really need to do tags. Those are for things like, I don't know if you've ever been to a blog where they use like a tag bubble where it shows like, all the possible tags. It's like hashtagging like in Twitter. We're not really using that. And then our featured image is there. So that's post in a nutshell. Any questions on post? I know that was a lot. I think I just talked about post for like a half an hour. But yeah, and it's probably one of those. Go ahead. Yep. Yep. Yeah, and it's one of those things where once you get doing it, it's going to be like second nature for you. I mean, I really foresee Jason doing the press releases in the site and then simply sending out the finished URL to the news agencies and whoever needs to have that information. Um, and also, one thing I didn't show you within our post. So let's go back to, um, oops, not there, homepage. Um, let's say we're in our post and we've gone here, and this is actually something you can do, Jason, if you want. Um, you guys have your Facebook and everything set up. You can simply go to Facebook. I hit the little share icon there, and this is going to bring up, if you notice, it's already taking me to Facebook. I'm logged in as me, so obviously, Jason, if you're logged in as you can simply, you don't have to write anything about it because it's going to put that right there. I'll share this real quick just so you guys can see what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and it won't show on Facebook. I'll show you. You'll see here I'm logged in as my Facebook, and here's this article. So I can go ahead and click that, and that takes me right over to that article. So this is just a way to share it on Facebook with, real quick. It's just taking a snippet of what you've written. But I'm going to go ahead real quick and just delete that. and the thing of it is that it's also built in right on that post to share to Twitter. So you'll see it'll do the same thing. It'll tweet the URL and the title. But then obviously if you still have characters available, I'm logged in as me. So as long as you're logged in as the prosecutor's office, you can tweet that. Same thing with I don't even know if I have it. I think I have a G plus or whatever. But if you're using, yeah, I do. It's done at the final post, yeah. And actually, yeah. See, look, Google Plus actually keeps the images right in there. It looks like it grabs all the images on that page though, because there was the logo. Yeah, it grabs anytime. Yeah, see, here's the slideshow. So it grabs those images, and I can make that public and share that to my Google Plus as well. But those are already built in. So basically, your process, Jason, will be um, create the post, and then go to that post, and then you can just hit share, share, share to all the social networks, right from that post. And then if anybody like a user coming to the site, if they want to post that, they'll be able to post that to their wall as well, um, right from there. And I'll show you too here. I don't know if you noticed, but this little feed here on our news thing, if we have featured images, they'll show up in that slider um, as well. So that's where I was getting at. Like, I know you won't always have images for things, but as you do have images, just be mindful using those as featured images because they'll show up in that scroller right there. All right, so that's post in a nutshell. I'm going to jump over, or actually here, I'll cover categories real quick. If you go into your categories, that's where you'll see all the categories that we had on our post page listed out. And then the cool thing is you can actually see how many posts are categorized in each of those. And so I can filter that. I can see, if I go the other way, I can see uh, there's 120 homicide posts on the site, 39 arrests, and that. Um, but when you're creating categories, you'll simply create a new cat. I would actually advise like setting up a new category this way, just because you get some of the options that you don't see on the post page. But let's just say we're going to do new category. Um, I can leave this slug blank. What the slug is it's a URL friendly. When we were in here and we went to the murder category, you'll notice up here this category / murder, that slug is what's there. So by default, when I'm setting up a category, I just leave that blank and it will automatically create the slug for me. And then if I want that category to be within a category like arrest, I can go ahead and do that as well. So I'm going to just hit add, and then you'll see it bumps it in with a little M dash here and puts that category there. And then you'll see I didn't put anything in the slug, and it automatically fills that. But if I wanted to, let's say we did new cat 2, and I want to abbreviate it there, but I want to write it out as new category 2 here, and go ahead and add that category, and you'll see once it there we go. So we got new cat 2 is our category name, but new cat 2 is our actual slug. And so that slug is the URL friendly thing that will show up here, whereas the name that I actually give it will be what shows up there. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete those categories. Yes. I would like to go over just the differences with pages, and then that's pretty much it as far as like what the general people will need to know. I can do a separate screen share with just Jason, or I can even just do it on my own terms of just going through the other plugins and stuff. The slide. Okay. Nope. No problem. Yeah. No problem. No problem. Let me cover pages, and then what I'll do is I'll have you guys just you guys can just hang up on the join me, but I'll continue just going through each section, and then that's where I would say if you guys have questions on specific things, I mean it'll be just like this. I'll just run down through each of these plugins and the widgets and everything. But yeah, so we're gonna No problem. No problem. So let's go ahead and look at the page. We're just going to go ahead and I just brought up the unit list, the child abuse page. So I'm just going to go ahead and look for that page. So I've gone into pages, all pages, which list everything, and we're going to go down through and we're going to go child abuse. And so basically what you're seeing here is you're seeing your title. I have some highlighted H2s, I believe, and our headings and our content. So you'll notice the pages pretty much look the exact same. We have our media editor, our slide deck that we can add in. We have our content editor. We have all. Yes, yeah. This is where like I wanted to focus on those so that way when somebody came in here, they could see you had it split up where you had the overview and the duties. Some of the others had two or three more sections underneath of them. So that's where that's at. Um, so you'll notice like even here the WordPress SEO that stuff is right there. So you can actually edit those keywords and title and description that shows up. Maybe it's not important that the uh, the section chief names are in the Google listing, and so you can actually come through here and just take that first paragraph and edit that content, if you want. Um, the only so the major differences here are is that we have you could still do the published, you could still do private pages, everything. You get your revisions. It does have your published date, which isn't necessarily important for pages, but you can have a page go live, at a certain date if you wanted it to. So if there was an event that was coming up, that would be a page that you would create. You could have that event be something that only goes live at a certain date. Um, you have your page attributes. This is a different section. You'll notice we don't have our categories, but we have this page attributes area. Basically, what this allows us to do is if there's pages within pages, like our unit list, we have all of those pages there. And then underneath victim witness, we have subpages. Underneath some of those subpages, we have our Spanish, handbooks and that. And so there's basically this hierarchy of page content and where things are found and where things are listed. And the reason you would want to use this is that if you notice over here underneath our, when we're doing our unit list, we want to keep everything in a intelligent way organized. And so you'll notice here we have our unit list URL, and then we have our child abuse, which is our page title. And so that's why you would want to use this parent area to organize your pages. And it just makes sense when you're looking for things. Hey, employment internships. There's our college internships and our frequently asked questions and stuff like that.
If I need to create new pages,
hmm
how do we set up that hierarchy?
Well, what you'll do is you'll basically just do a new page that'll be blank. You'll see this parent thing over here. If it does not have a parent, like if it's the first level in your navigation, you would choose no parent.
Okay.
But if it's underneath something that's already established, that's where you're going to want to keep it. Like for this instance, the unit list. We have different page templates, but right now what we're doing is we're using the default template. And the reason for that is that we want to maintain our sidebar. Um, and so, so by default, the default template is chosen. So you don't even need to worry about that. We're not doing anything with our order here because we're actually using WordPress's menu. And that might be the only other thing I'd want to show you real quick today, would be the menu. And you can do featured images on pages. This would be something that would be at the top. So let's just for this instance, we'll just use this picture. And did I hit save? Let me just double check. Set featured image. And let's just update. It should come in there when I hit update. Yep, all right. Hit refresh. So you could, if you want, you could have a heading picture on your page. And I would recommend going through and doing this at some point. Obviously, this picture does not go with this page, but coming up with some kind of, finding a picture that kind of shows that, whether it's showing an event that has happened. I mean, obviously you don't want a child abuse. I mean, maybe there is a child abuse event as far as prevention, that you could have a picture there, but obviously be sensitive to the different topics that are here. I mean, you don't want, I don't know, you know, I don't know a really good example, but domestic violence, you don't want to maybe necessarily have a picture of two people going at it, beating each other up. You don't really want to put a picture there. So for the featured images, it might not pertain necessarily to that page. Um,
Yeah, and we just, I just, yeah,
yeah. And again, those are case by case, situational type things. So that's pretty much page as I'm refreshing here. That's pretty much page. You saw a lot of the similarities with post. So obviously, the back and forth going from post to pages will be easy. Um, the only other thing I want to, yep, go ahead.
sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the only other thing I want to show you before, just as menus, just in how they regard how they're handled with pages and the content we're creating. What question do you have, or what did you want to say?
Let's see what the looks like. There's so many different functions on there. But I want to see what it look like and what I need to change it.
Okay, the audio just broke out. I can't. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. There you go. So what did you want?
I want to see what the administrator on page and the home page looks like.
Oh, okay.
Just
Yeah.
because I'm going to be starting to change things, but I want to see like, and there's
Well,
also some different functions
right,
on all the other.
right. Yeah, exactly. I didn't really even think about that. Okay, so let me go here. All right. So we want to go. I'm just going to go here to the home page. And right now I'm using on the home page, we're using this page composer template. And the reason behind that is because we have some kind of mixed content here. We have our slideshow, we have our homepage text and image, and then we have our news items. And so the homepage composer, what that is I have these sections here. Um, Simply, we can have custom content, we can have different news, categories, reviews, post, and slider. But within that custom content, I have our slide deck shortcode, which, like I said, I'll show you a video on how to do that later. And we have our image embedded in and our text. So that's where that text is right here. That's where that text is controlled. Oops, wrong page. And then we have our sidebar that it's bringing up, which is it's bringing up this sidebar next to our content. And then in our latest post, I'm just bringing in that section which is titled latest post. Right now I just have 6 featured. There are some other, like you can add some title and subtitle text underneath of that. We're showing our thumbnails, and if they have thumbnails, they'll show up, and then we're putting the blog sidebar next to it, and then we're doing this pagination, which basically is just giving this ability to have these pages right here, um, so that they can see more. So that refreshes, and then it'll go to page 2 of our news items will show up here. But yeah, the homepage editor is the only one that's different, just because of the dynamic content that we're bringing in. But like I said, I'll show you in a video how to edit that stuff, because this is done a little differently. Obviously, this is an image here, and that's HTML code um, showing up there. Um,
How do I do things in there?
in the slideshow,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'll show you that. For some reason, my internet is like going really dog slow right now. It just doesn't want to show it. There we go. Okay, so that content's come back in. All right. So yeah, I'll do the slideshow video. I'll show you how to do that. So that's the home page. So the real quick, I just want to show you our navigation. We have a couple different navigations going on in the site, just because of the dynamic nature of some of our pages. So when you come here to edit menu, the last menu that was updated is going to be what's showing. So right now this is showing our victim witness menu. But so basically what I'm getting at is that you can have multiple navigation types set up for various pages. And the reason, like, we have a victim witness menu because within that page we have multiple pages. But for the most part, you're going to be focusing on your main and your top navigation. Your main navigation, when we select to edit that, is going to be this gray bar navigation, and then your top navigation is this bar up here. And so when you create a new page, and obviously we didn't create any pages during this demo, but when you create a new page, it's not automatically added into the navigation until you come here and do it. And there's a couple different ways that you can do adding pages. And so the process will basically be, you've created your page and you now want to link out to that page. So just for this purpose, I'm going to go to view all, and we're just going to see, okay, we want to add the account to our main navigation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit add to menu. It's going to spin, and by default it just adds it to the bottom of the navigation. If I hit save right now, that account is going to show up right here next to tip line, because that's where it's at. Now you'll notice some of these are indented, and what that means is that here we have our drop-down list of other options that are underneath. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and click and drag. You'll see there's that little, can you guys see that gray outline there? It kind of shows where it's going to be. So I can have it within the drop down, or I could just have it based off of a top level. So everything that's out here against the edge is our top level navigation. Everything that's indented is going to be your drop down. If I hit save and it does its thing and hit refresh, after it does its thing, and it's gonna take its good old time right now. Oh. Time to call Comcast, I guess. I have like the highest speed internet, and this last week it's just not been wanting to do its thing. All right, here we go. We're refreshing. So now, oh, maybe I refreshed too soon because it's not showing up. All right, let's just do. All right, so now account is underneath tip line. So that's how you edit the navigation. Obviously, we don't want that there. The other neat thing here is that you can actually you'll see there's these other options here, links and categories. Say you want to link out to a website. So let's just say New Jersey, yeah, here we go. We'll just do New Jersey County Map. We're just going to go ahead and link to this Google map. I can go ahead and grab that URL for that web page, and I can paste it in here. I can title it New Jersey Google Map, and I can add an external link to my navigation. So I know on your current site there was some links, so that's going to be right there. I know on your current site there was some links to like the police academy and different stuff. You can actually link out to those sites. The other thing that you can do is we have our categories set up, and here we have our latest news. So let's say, just for this purpose, that we want to get people quicker to these links. So I can go ahead and go add to menu those categories, and you'll notice here our normal pages, they're just called page, but here is our categories. So now if I put those in line here, oh, and the other thing I'll show you is on that Google map, since that's linking out to an external site, I can also click this little open link in new tab. Hit save. And hopefully this won't take as long to refresh. And now we update the site. And now our New Jersey Google map is here, so that's going to open up in a new tab. And this could be something that you guys could use this. Say there's an event that's going to be happening and the prosecutor's office wants to draw attention to it. You can actually just link out to that event and put it right on your navigation. And then the other thing here, we have our latest news. So if I click homicide there, you'll notice now instead of going to latest news, which is our full blog feed, it's going to straight up to that category homicide. And then you can have your homicide feed right there. So that's kind of menu in a nutshell. I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Save. And now those menu options are gone. So that's pretty much the basics as far as the what we'll cover right now. Like I said, I'll do videos for the other plugins. But do you guys have any questions, or is pretty good to go? I mean, like you said, once you get in there.
To get the Spanish language translation, how do people go about doing that? Is there a plugin or they just?
Are you talking about like translating the content on the site?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right now, like I have to work on. That's the other thing I didn't finish the Spanish translation.
Yeah, we said we were just going to use Google Translate.
Right. Yeah, there's a WordPress plugin that'll add like a little translation icon, and then when they click on that, it'll just translate, and that'll be site wide. Yeah, that I just put that in my note to do that. I think I installed the plugin, but I don't think I made it live. Um, but yeah. So as far as things that I'm doing yet, I need to put in the tip line content. I need to check the time zone to get that to the right, and then the Spanish translation. Is there anything else that you guys have questions about or things yet to do? Uh, I I didn't hear any of that. There's really bad feedback.
You know, you're going and showing stuff you haven't we can look at.
Okay, all the audio just went really. There you go. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear any of the last thing that you guys just said. Oh, sounds like the audio just went out. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my audio got disconnected there. Much.
You said you're going to go ahead and presentation for a bit. We can later and look over some of the.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I'll put that together, and then it'll be a while till the YouTube link goes up because we're probably over like an hour video now that I'll be uploading, but I'll send that to you. Hopefully I'll get that uploaded, today or tomorrow at some point, and then I'll just send you a link. And then, like I said, if you guys have questions beyond that, I could definitely do a screen share on the individual basis. Um, but I believe that wraps, everything up as far as that, and then like as far as today goes, and then if you have any questions or if there's any other things that are still missing, and then maybe next week, Jason, we can talk about going live and switching this thing to the now public site.
I think it's days. I'm gonna start updating this myself.
Okay.
Just practice the experience you gave.
Okay. Okay.
Put it on myself.
Okay.
This has been great. Thank you for the time.
Yep. No problem. I'm glad we were able to connect, and I'm glad this worked as far as screen sharing and everybody's seeing things. Hopefully, you're all not brain dead from this on a Friday morning and now afternoon, but hopefully this was helpful for everyone, there. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, and you've done a great job with the website. We're all really happy with it.
all right. Well, thank you. Tell your friends.
No problem.
All right. Have a good day, guys. Yep. Bye bye. So I'm going to continue here with the plugin aspects of the website now. And I'm just going to go down through what these plugins can do and where we're using them on the site. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to our TablePress plugin. And TablePress is basically a way to upload Excel spreadsheets, CSV files, and use those to organize content. So what I'm going to go and do here is we're using a table here on the law enforcement context. You'll see how nicely gridded out everything is. It looks really sharp. And I'm just going to go ahead and export this content. And when that downloads, all right, so I'm going to click that, and I want to download that as a CSV file, and go ahead and download the exported file. All right, so that has downloaded. I've got a CSV file here. I'm going to, oh, I don't want that. I want to quit. I want to open up. I'm going to open up my spreadsheet program here on Mac. I use Numbers. I'm just going to go ahead and open up the CSV file. And you'll notice here, oop, not that one. Here we have our cells of all of our content. So we have 3 cells basically with our content. And the reason I open this up is that from time to time this information may change. And so basically what you're going to want to do is if the content on this page changes, you're going to want to export, select which one you're going to export, and that is going to bring you to this CSV file. And now that we're in the CSV file, we can change some content. So what I'm going to do is just real simple. I'm going to show you how to edit the file as a whole. And so let's just say that their address changed to 616. And we're going to go ahead and export this as a CSV. And we're going to do next. And I'm just going to save over what's in my downloads folder, which was the file that I just brought in. And so that's going to be there. It's going to say I want to replace it. I want to say yes. Okay, so we're done with that, and I am not going to save it to my hard drive. And so now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and import those changes. So let's say there was a couple law enforcement officers, their names changed, or different aspects, the addresses changed, the buildings moved or whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and do a file upload, and I'm going to go to my download, and I'm going to bring in that law enforcement contact page. We're going to bring it in as a CSV, and instead of adding a new table, we're just going to replace, and we're going to upload the law enforcement contacts. We're going to import that. And once that import is done, it's going to bring us out to the fields here, and we're going to refresh, and it looks like there was a mistake that I had made, and so I'll show you how we're going to amend that mistake. So it's not going to show up here because there's no content in it, but there's a 4th column, and this is our text editor area for TablePress right in WordPress. So we made that change here to the Audubon Police. I'm going to go down through, and we're going to actually undo what I just did, and we're also going to get rid of this column. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the column. Go OK. And since we made that change here to the address, if you notice here, if I refresh, the 616 is going to show up there, but we don't want that. We want 606. So we're going to just change and save that. And that change has been made. And 606 is now our address. The other things that I did here, I will admit there is a little bit of HTML going on in each of these blocks. And the reason behind that is because we wanted to give the ability to control things like phone numbers. Now that people are accessing this website more so on a mobile device or a tablet that may be connected to a service like Skype, they actually hit call. They'll be able to tap on that phone number, and if I had a phone app or anything like that on my Mac, I would actually be able to call that phone number because there's a telephone number in there. And when you're setting that up, you just want to make sure you have this HTML here. And the other things that we're doing, we have some strongs, which is HTML for bold. And we also have some hyperlinks in here, which are links to the websites. And so that creates that link that opens up the Audubon Police Department website. So this is the table plugin, TablePress, and it's pretty simple to use as far as exporting and then uploading. The way that you insert a table into a page, I'll just show you real quick. If I come over here, I opened up a new tab with our page for the law enforcement context. I entered this table ID code, which I got here, and because I wanted it to be responsive so that the grids go one under each other, I have this phone thing here. And the way that you can insert those is you simply hit this little TablePress icon. So it's going to insert a table from TablePress. I'm going to do insert shortcode, and it puts that shortcode in there. The other thing I can do is I can insert that shortcode, and if I want to make some options for us, once that refreshes here, and I guess there aren't options in here. So the responsive phone is something you're just going to have to add. That's part of the shortcode that allows it to stack the columns on phones. But you can see we have our 2, 3, and 4, which is our other, our county and our state and federal agencies that are listed on the site. So that's the TablePress plugin. Okay, so actually we're going to delete that. And now we're going to go over to Slide Deck. Slide Deck is the leave the page because we want to save those changes. Slide Deck is what we're using here on the home page. So this is primarily going to be Jason's responsibility to go ahead and upload to the website slideshow. So we have our one slideshow. We're going to go ahead and go in there. And once we go to that slideshow, you're going to see we have our slides. The way that we add slides is we just simply hit add slide. This is where I would prefer that you guys use horizontal pictures, but I'll show you an example of a horizontal picture and a vertical picture. That way you can add new. The horizontal pictures are just going to look better, but here I'm going to click that button and this button, and we're just going to do add select to slide deck. I could also just add from my computer if they haven't been uploaded to the media, but right now these are uploaded to the media. So you'll notice when I did that, it refreshed this slideshow. It's going to calculate these new images, And we got a couple different things that we can do here. So we just uploaded this picture. It's a very big picture, and it's very grainy, and it's more of a square picture. So one of the things that I can do is I can go here and I can not scale the image, so that would mean it would be the very big image, which we don't want to do. But I can scale proportionally and crop, or I can scale proportionally and do not crop. If I do not crop, you'll notice a couple of the other options that we have here is I can do title here. I can do the image title. I can have this link out to something. So if we want to actually have it link to the post that she's in, I can come over here and grab that link. So I'm just going to highlight that, hit copy, post that link in there, and we're going to keep the caption, and we're going to do apply. And the other thing we'll do is we'll open up this picture, and we're going to do body text. So we're not going to put, actually, we're just going to do canvassing the scene. Body text goes here. You actually have this body text in there, and we're going to do apply. And when we go over here to our fourth picture, you'll see it cropped out, cropped the whole picture, or scaled it so that the whole picture fits. So it's more of a vertical picture. So we have these white on the side here. Title goes here as our caption. You'll notice that that's clickable. And if you look down just below, like right here in this area when I'm highlighted over there, you'll see it goes to that page now. And then you can also have a picture where you can have some more text along with that picture, maybe describing it. The other things that you can do in slide deck is you can come in here and you can click and drag the order. And after I do that, it'll refresh. And you'll notice now, picture 4 is the canvas, and picture 5 is the lady. We can also delete those pictures. It's going to say, are you sure? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And that's the basics of slide deck. I already pre-programmed our skin and our setup and appearance and the way that things will operate. But there are some other settings in there that you can always look around and just test out. Go ahead and hit save because we don't want those changes to be made live. I think, just looking real quick to see. Oh, the other thing I didn't show you when we're on our pages, right now within our page there's a bunch of content. Now let's say that somebody wanted to print that page. It'd be really nice if, like, at least with this, like the typical way that websites print it, it's looking at all the content and it's looking to try and basically print everything. And that's not necessarily the best. Somebody wants to print that out. And so there's this little plugin called Print Friendly. And what that does is basically we have this little icon set up, and I can simply grab this little shortcode, Print Friendly, and if I scroll all the way down, hit Print Friendly, and go Update, and I'm going to refresh that. And now when I scroll down, you'll see this little print icon. So I can click that print, and you'll notice it kind of removes all the fluff of the icon and the stuff that I don't necessarily need. Okay, so it's turned that. You also see, like, there's this little, it lets me highlight each paragraph. So I can click to delete things that I don't need. Let's say I don't need that, and I don't need that. So I can click those paragraphs, and if there's extra spaces, they'll also show up as paragraphs. So it's really neat. Somebody can just print out what they want. If there was images on this page, they can click to remove. They can make the text size bigger. Maybe they need to be able to see it. They can email that, or they can save it as a PDF, or they can print it out. So that's something that you could add on a page-by-page basis with this little print-friendly. So I'm going to turn that off and hit update. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that for use later. And I want to go to our post. I'll go to the home. And when it brings up the post here, I'll show you. We're going to go to that Canvas one that we've used a couple times. And I'm going to go ahead and put that short code at the end of our post. Okay, so I'm going to update that. And I'm going to go into our post once it's saved. And now you'll notice that that print friendly will work also on this page. So scroll all the way down. So print friendly is there. You'll notice now when I go to print friendly, look at that. Those pictures are in there. Oh, they're skewed. Maybe we, oh, you know what? I bet you. All right, so the printing puts up those pictures. Doesn't necessarily look great. And, you know, I don't want to waste ink, so I'm going to remove the pictures. But look at that. I've got this nice little, you know, thing. I can have that as a PDF. Generate that PDF. And here's just another way I can download that PDF that I could save. Jason, you could save those press releases if you need to have them printed out. You can also email that to somebody and send them a little message, and then I'll email them that content. So it's a really neat little feature. Again, you just have to use this little print-friendly short code, and you can get that under settings, print-friendly. So I think that's pretty much it. I will say, like, if there's anything that you guys need yet, you know, aside from the things we talked about today, or if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks. Bye-bye.